Welcome to the Preferred Walk-On Show. I'm your host, Seth Saunders, joined as always by my co-host, lifelong sidekick and friend, James Kim. Brother, it's been a bit, but we are officially back. College football is almost officially back. It's time to roll, baby. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, me either, man. We are 6 days away from week 0 starting. Small slate as always, but college football is here. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Lots to catch up on. I guess first and foremost, we should talk about the new name of the show, the new brand of the show, Preferred Walk On. Give a little background for that, the reason for doing that. Obviously, we started the show, 5 years ago. As anybody who has been following the show knows, James and I are diehard Georgia Bulldog fans. That certainly will not change. We will do our best to keep those rose-colored glasses out of things, but I can't make any promises, folks. Old habits die hard, so we'll manage that the best we can. And it's been awesome. This has been such a fun journey for James and I. It's something we started as, hey man, we're having these college football conversations every week anyways, and talking about the dogs every week anyways. Why don't we just tape it and kind of see where it goes? And it's turned into this incredible thing where we've met incredible people and gotten to hear so many awesome stories from different folks around college football and attached to the game. And yeah, man, it's just been a gift. So for all of you that listen and follow, thank you so much. James and I couldn't be more grateful just to have the opportunity to do this. And man, probably selfishly, the best thing about it is I get to see you a bunch and we get to talk a bunch, which is awesome. And man, the reason that we kind of decided to broaden out and make it Preferred Walk On, something more general and applicable to college football and college sports at large, is I think really, man, we've probably been thinking about it for a while, because part of doing the show has been not just realizing, I would say probably both of us have a deeper love for the dogs than we did even when we started because of the show. But I would also say what's happened is, man, our love for college football has grown exponentially. And I didn't even think that was probably possible. But just getting to talk to different folks and kind of start following different teams and storylines because you meet different characters has kind of made it, I think, just a richer tapestry. You know what I mean? And so we got the opportunity last year, which was a gift, to go to Madison and to go to Bloomington over Thanksgiving weekend to cover Paul Bunyan's Axe and to cover Old Oak and Barrel. And it was kind of this eye-opening moment, like, man, this was awesome. And we had probably one of the best weekends as buddies ever, you know? And so it kind of was an eye opener about, man, we should just talk about it all. We talk about it all anyways. We might as well just make that the charter of the show. So am I missing anything, or does that cover it all?
No, I think that pretty much covers it all. I mean, the main thing is the relationships we built, and now we have the opportunity to broaden it even more, because we were pretty much dog centric, and then we brought it into SEC, and now we're broadening it to all of college football.
Yeah, man. And it's just something where, God, the game is so good right now. I know there's been so much change, and we're going to talk about a bunch of that, because what a wild off season. But it hasn't changed anything for me, man. I still I was looking at the preview magazines to get ready for the episodes that we're going to tape, and you just think about, there's just so much change, which in so many ways I feel like makes it more compelling. And I think it makes the competitive landscape just a lot thicker, because there's just, I think, a lot more roster diversity. And I think there's going to be a lot more parity because of it, because you just don't have the roster depth that we're so accustomed to at these more top tier schools. And so I think it could be one of the wilder college football seasons in recent history, just because I don't know that there's a clear-cut favorite this year. And so, look, let's start at the top, okay? Let's talk about NIL. Let's talk about the House settlement. Let's talk about how that is changing things. Obviously, everything leading into this year doesn't fall under the House settlement. So you get programs like Texas Tech that were technically taking advantage of, let's call it an uncapped year. Their Matador collective was very, very aggressive. I think they have one of the more interesting storylines to watch throughout the season because of that. They added a ton of talent in the transfer portal, laid out a ton of cash to do it. And their expectation, and I think the expectation of many, is that they are Big 12 title or bust. And that is all tied around the money they've invested into that program. And so it remains to be seen, right? What's going to happen. And I think they have some legitimate questions within their roster, even given all they added, notably at the quarterback position. And so that's out there. But moving forward, there's going to be this quote unquote salary cap, at least for now. I know there's still some talk about there being maybe something will happen with that and that'll get overturned. And there's different legal avenues that folks are trying to take. And I'm not smart enough to know X, Y, and Z or about all those things, but certainly something to follow, right? But for next year, that's the plan. And so, I don't know, man. Where do you sit on that? Like, how did all that strike you? How do you feel about where things currently are? I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it. So, where are you at on everything?
Well, I have a couple of opinions. The government trying to stick their hand in college football wasn't a big surprise at all. But realistically, I think that this is going to send us back to the pre-NIL era in a way because, everyone will have the cap at the 20 million, but it's going to let the more bigger donor schools do what they were doing beforehand and just doing it under the table and not getting caught. And not to jump ahead, because I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this, but the Michigan slap on the wrist is going to make teams do it more because of them, their cheating scandal and them getting caught and really getting no punishment for it. They vacated nothing. They vacated no wins. The $20 million fine, who gives a crap? I mean, I'm sure their dowry is, well enough. They're not going to hurt at all. So
yeah. That's their walking around money, Helmy.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that this is going to put us back. This is going to hurt, in my opinion, more than it's going to help. I understand the intent behind it, but I don't think that it's going to do the intended effect because there's no teeth with the NCAA. That's the problem. There's no governing body. There's nobody that can oversee this to implement it. It's all going to have to still be the schools are going to have to self-report. It's all the same crap. So there's not going to be any oversight. That's the problem with it. If there was going to be a governing body or anything like that, then yeah, like they could actually enforce it, sure. But there's not. We're still going to be with the same issues that we've been having before, where the rich are going to get rich, and then the other teams are going to have basically the group of five teams are going to be a feeding ground for the big schools, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, so you talk about the enforcement piece, and I do think there's some depth to this, which I find interesting because, like you said, I think as the current landscape sits, the NCAA has no teeth. And I think in a lot of ways, the powers that be in college football probably could have told the NCAA to shove it a while ago. I mean, dude, they had no involvement with the playoff, right? So, the fact that they were kind of just letting the NCAA enforce things here and there, I always found a little bit odd. But, now they've formed this College Sports Commission, which is supposed to be the body that's going to oversee NIL. Now, how that's going to function and what kind of teeth CSC is going to have, who knows, right? They've hired some pretty reputable folks to but it's essentially functioning as a startup. Like they're starting a business. I mean, it's not a business per se, but a business in a lot of ways, and they got to figure out administration, all this type of stuff. And so, man, I'm interested to see where it lands. The guy they appointed to lead it was one of the enforcement arms for Major League Baseball. And so it's not like they don't have somebody there with some gravitas and some big time experience. It's just I'm interested to see how that's going to play out because to your point, man, I just think the dynamics they're spicy.
Yeah.
And if you're a school like Texas Tech that has unlimited resources and really organized and motivated donors. And then look, they got announced this week that the Booth family donated $300 million to KU. And I know a big chunk of that, I think 2/3 is supposed to go to finishing the Gateway project. That's going to, finish the stadium construction in the area around it. So I get that, the developmental piece, but dude, what do you think the other 225s was?
Exactly.
That's for players, baby. And it's just going to be, there's just so much out there, I think. And look, I think you and I have both always been on the side of we're both good with college athletes getting paid.
Yes.
I think our push, what we always wanted it to look like was, hey, man, let's just let's just not interfere with these guys and girls interacting in the market, being capitalists, right? Like my brand is worth X and I go to restaurant or car dealership in town I'm in, or even better, if I have a big social media presence, some national advertiser approaches me, my brand has value, I capitalize on that brand. Hey man, what's wrong with that? If you and me were chemistry majors, we could do that and we're not getting in trouble for it. So what's the difference? So that was always my problem. This is different though, right?
It's the pay for play. That's the issue.
This is different, man. It's pay for play. And I it's also one of these things where it can't help but permeate recruiting. And so like you're getting now where you're being incentivized to come to a school, which again, it is what it is, right? But there's just, to your point earlier, there is no clear cut and established hierarchy of enforcement for any of this. And, you know, and part of the reason for that is they let the toothpaste out of the tube before they set any rules up, which
exactly.
There's nothing to do about that now, but they got to get their arms around it in some way. And my preference would be they had somebody involved in that process that loves the game, loves college football. I mean, you and I have talked about this before. I think Nick Saban would probably be an excellent person to be in a role like that because he did it for so long and he loves the game. And I don't just mean football. I mean, he loves college football, the institution. And so I think he would do right by the game. And so, yeah, man, it's a wild world. And dude, like, I don't know how much you've looked at it, but like one of the things we used to look at historically for how we're going to talk about teams, like when we do our conference previews, is who has the most returning production. Well, like, how do you really quantify that now? Because, okay, yeah, maybe I only had 50% returning production for my roster last year, but I added 7 guys that started at FBS schools.
Other schools.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So, like, man, I think it's more difficult than ever now to try to prognosticate at all what's going to happen. And I also wonder, too, you and I are big in this camp about football teams having their own personality and having their
evolution.
Yes, and like having their own culture. Well, like, how do you build that when the roster's constantly flipping? I mean, dude, in a lot of ways, this is worse than the NFL because you're essentially on 1-year contracts.
Sometimes it's not even 1 year. Sometimes it's 6 months.
Sometimes
they come in the summer, they're gone by December.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point. I mean, yeah, man. So it's yeah, it's different. It's gonna be different for sure.
See, I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers, but you and I have talked about this before. I would be happy if there was something that was put into these, like if they were actual contracts. If you want to do the 1-year contract thing, fine, or 1 season, or however you want to do it. But if there was something built into there, something similar to the soccer in Europe, to where if someone wants to enter the transfer portal and wants to leave, that the school is literally buying the service, buying the contract to renegotiate it, just how it is in the English Premier League and the big leagues over in Europe in soccer. So that the school, yes, they train this person. They may not have given them playing time, but they've invested in them. So they're getting something back. And that's something that they can then put into their pot to reinvest into other resources. So it's not a wasted season for them, for that person, for their backups, something like that. Because, and I mean this more not for the big schools like the SEC schools or the Big Ten schools, but for the Group of 5 schools, the FCS schools that don't have the resources, because it's just those schools are going to end up losing so much money for the time that they invest into these kids that then the sooner a better opportunity comes along, they're going. I mean, just look at Juice Wells at Ole Miss. I mean, he was at JMU, he went to South Carolina, then he went to Ole Miss, and then to the NFL. Like, I mean, my alma mater, JMU, so that's why I know most about him. But there's 1,000 kids that do that. They go to group of 5 schools, then they go to bigger schools, stuff like that. The schools lose out on that because they invest in those kids, give them their shot where bigger schools didn't. They train them, they invest in them, and then they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big piece of it is you're investing resources, and then you may never get any return on that investment. And I think this is what, and obviously we are invested in this a little bit more, but I think that's what the bigger schools, especially a school like Georgia, is trying to do on the front end in recruiting, is say, look, we want guys that want to be here. Yeah. They don't want all the external stuff. Their motivation is to be here, to win, and to grow. And look, man, I don't think it's going to be the case. And I don't blame any of the kids. I want that very, very clear. Okay. They should get as much as they can get. All right. Because let's be honest. The whole point of going to school is to get an education so you can make as much money as possible when you go out in the working world. Right. So anybody that's standing on any kind of soapbox bemoaning these kids making money, I do have a problem with that. All right. Like, there ain't nothing wrong with these kids making money because the rules are the rules. So, like, or the lack thereof, or the lack thereof.
The lack thereof, yeah.
So I don't bemoan the kids at all for taking advantage of it and trying to make some money. Like, good for them. They're talented and they're going to get paid for it. But I have no issue with that. All right. It's just, yeah, man, it's just a different landscape than what we're used to. And change is inevitable. So this is just change that we're seeing. Let's talk about something else. I want to talk about all the up and down and kind of the back and forth about the playoff structure, which you and I are probably the worst people to talk about this because in so many ways it's all just laugh out loud funny to me. And little pretext on that. Jimmy and I are both historically FCS guys, okay? James went to James Madison when they were still an FCS powerhouse. I went to William & Mary when they were still exactly what they are right now. They play in the FCS. And dude, we talk about it a bunch. That playoff system has been robust for a long time, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And dude, there's nothing wrong with it. And the regular season is still great, and there's no issue. And it's like, I always do laugh a little bit when people get so bent out of shape about this. The regular season doesn't matter and all these different things. I'm like, dude, like literally every single level of football in all of these United States does their playoff system exactly how we're talking about shifting it to for the top level of college football. And we're just, oh God, we're acting like something tragic has happened. I don't know, man. I think it's funny.
We're like, as much proponents as we are and how much we love college football, the bowl system and these lower tier bowls just, I don't want to say don't matter. They don't matter as much as they used to because of the opt-outs. They just don't. They matter for the teams that make them to develop younger players for their next season. They matter for practice reps. So let the kids practice regardless. Make it so every team, if they choose to, can practice that extra month, regardless if they make a bowl. And if they make the bowl, great, they play. But I don't understand this harping on these bowls. Like, who gives a crap Goodyear Midwest, Samsung Bowl that is played on a Tuesday night at 4:30 that has 10,000 fans in a 60,000 person stadium. I mean, in 20-degree weather, where everyone's miserable. I mean, for the kids to play in it, yes, that's great. But to say that it's like this huge money generator, it's not. And so, as far as the playoff system, games on campuses are great. They proved that last year. Games on campuses are great. I want more games on campus. I have no problem with the the semifinals and the quarterfinals being the New Year's Six Bowls. I have no problem with that at all. But I think that the teams who get the higher seeds should have the opportunity to have a game on campus.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be set up so that there's, they're rewarded. I don't want to say that they were punished last year, but there was no advantage other than the extra bye week. But all those teams played an extra game to play in their conference championships.
Yeah.
So, really, you got to weigh it. So, I'm for more teams. I don't necessarily think we need to, whatever the hell the Big Ten is proposing, I'm not for the automatic bids. I don't think one conference should get more bids than another conference. I don't care about that. I think your conference champion should get in, or if you want to do it to where the top two, the people who made the conference championship, get in. If you want to do it that way, to make some sort of level playing field, I'm fine with that. Because that's the top two teams in your conference. That takes up 8 of 24 if they go to 24. And then you have, one group of 5, and then you still have 15 at-large bids. If you go to 24 or 16, then you have 7 at-large bids. I'm fine with that. But this whole back and forth, this is going to expand whether we want it to or not. There should be no large number. No one conference gets 4, one conference gets 6, or 2 conferences get 6. That should not be taking up 60 to 70% of the field between 2 conferences. I don't care how many teams are in there.
Yeah, no, I am diametrically opposed to this. The Big Ten gets whatever. Well, I don't know, whatever the numbers were, okay? The Big Ten gets X amount of auto qualifiers. The SEC gets X amount of auto qualifiers. No, hard pass. I don't want that at all, right? The 5+11 model that they're talking about, I'm good with that. If they want to go, 4 AQs from the Power 4, and then however it was structured last year with the G5, where the highest ranked G5 conference champion goes, perfect. And then we take 11 highest after that. And then the shift this year will be the top 4 will be the top 4. It's not going to be this. Yeah, which that's everybody and their mom knew that was the best idea. That was the biggest overthink in history, doing it the way they did it last year. But man, I'm with you. I think it's ridiculous that we work all year, we earn a top 4 seed, and then our first playoff game's on a neutral site. What are we doing? I mean, you got to play those games on home campuses, and maybe no greater place in all of sport does home field matter the way it does in college football. I mean, it's just it's an extra bunch of points, man. And if you have a home field with some teeth, how do you not get a game there? And I just that needs to be part of these discussions. It's not going to happen, man, because it's money, right? This is the problem with the AQ thing. They could get rid of all this if there was an actual way to crown a conference champion in a regular season. See, this is the issue that FCS and D2 and D3 don't have, because they just crown a conference champion from the regular season, and then that team gets the AQ. But dude, the conference championships are such a big money brand and so valuable to each of the individual conferences. They will never let those go. Dude, there's never not going to be an SEC championship. So that is a non-starter. And so they have to maneuver around that and also try to figure out ways to keep it so those two teams play those games. Because what was the conversations we were having last year? Well, dude, do you make the strategic decision where I'm going to sit certain guys because we know we're in, right? Yeah. Which let's talk about that, okay? Look at, for example, a Carson Beck in the SEC title game who gets hurt. Georgia wins the conference title, gets their AQ bid, but then they don't have their starting quarterback in the playoffs. And so, dude, that's the kind of stuff I think people are having conversations about with, well, if we don't get a home game, does the conference title really matter if we know we're already in? Now, obviously, it's different math. If you're a team like, for example, Clemson last year. If they didn't win in Charlotte, they weren't in.
They weren't good. Yeah, they weren't in. Yeah.
That's different, okay? But, Georgia and Texas were in last year. In theory, neither one of them really needed to lay it all out there. So I don't know, man. There's just like the NIL stuff, man. The playoff stuff has a lot of moving parts. People are very, very passionate about not wanting it to be any bigger than 12-team playoff. I'd be fine with 16. I'd be fine with 24. Wouldn't bother me at all. I cannot tell you how excited I was for that opening round of games last year. Because
Oh,
they
it's
all
great.
mattered.
They all mattered, yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a funny thing.
And they weren't none of the games were really entertaining. It was they were on campus, they were exciting, the atmospheres were electric. Like, but they were all of them ended up being blowouts.
Oh yeah, they were all, from a game perspective, they were all wet farts. I mean, they just were what they were. But hey, that's okay. That's part of it. That has happened. Can't overimplement that. But yeah, so that's something interesting to track, kind of see how all that goes. I do think has created, though, a different set of, I don't know if opportunity is the right word, but let's just say different ability for folks to transition to and from the NFL, because I think the games administratively have gotten a lot more similar. Like, I know this has been talked about ad nauseum, but it's still, to me, probably the most surprising story of the offseason. In fact, that Bill Belichick is coaching college football in Chapel Hill is fascinating to me. First off, I just never thought he would do it. Like, it just seems like it would be too big of a pain in the ass, and he just seems like the kind of guy that wouldn't have the time of day for it. And, like, especially given how close he was to getting the wins record in the NFL, I just thought he would chase that until somebody was desperate enough to hire him and get him whatever. What does he need? Like 7 more wins or something like that?
6 or 7. Yeah, it's not much.
So
a
guy like him being in college football, I mean, dude, there's no chance that happens 5 years ago. No chance.
No. I don't understand the reasoning, like his thought process. I don't understand his thought process behind it, and I don't understand going to Chapel Hill like that either. Like, I don't know. I mean, how old is he? 72, 73? Like, I mean, he's up there. Like,
he's not young.
It's not like, I mean, this is not a knock on Chapel Hill, but it's not like it's Miami. You know what I mean? It's not like a retirement community. So, it's not like he's going there to, like, lay on the beach, in the off season or anything like that. I don't know. It was just a weird choice. And I don't know.
Dude, I think they're an interesting team. I read an incredible article this week about Max Johnson and the injury he had last year at Minnesota. Dude, fascinating. First off, I had no idea how severe the injury was. And
it was awful. It was like Alex Smith awful.
It was really, really bad. And so I thought the article was excellent. It kind of tracked everything after the game, all those type of things. And then it went into kind of his road back and all these different things. And so, man, it was really good. So I'm going to give you a charter. This is live as we're chatting. I'm throwing this out there. Something I want to start doing is you and your boy are going to pick our favorite thing we've read this week, and we're going to link it. We're going to mention it on the show, and then we're going to link it in the show notes. Because, dude, I know I do, and I know you do too, read a ton of stuff. And there's certain articles that are worth, like, talking about. And I think people that listen to our show, if they like the same stuff we like, they'll like it too. So we're going to do that. So that's your homework for week 1. Or let's say week 0 previews.
Week zero
That's
previews.
That's your homework, is to come to the show with your favorite thing you've read all week. I have started to keep a list of stuff because, dude, there's some stuff out there that's great. I don't know if you read the article in CBS Sports in the offseason about kind of how the Matador Collective put together this offseason and went into, it was essentially like a background story on Texas Tech and where their football program is escalated to, their head coach, the booster group, all of it. Very well done. There's just some really good, good investigative journalism where they're telling stories that need to be heard. And so, yeah, I think we should start doing that. You're a big reader. I'm a big reader. We should do that. So that's one thing we're going to do. Another thing I want to talk to you about, which I know we texted about a little bit, I want to find the greatest tailgates in America. Okay. Like, and you know what inspired this for me is when we saw our boy in Madison at like 8:30 in the morning when it was negative 87 wind chill. Our boy pulls up in like a freaking white panel truck, drops the ramp down on that bad boy, and they are rolling out like 10 different, deck heaters, and I
The
spy
kegerator.
a darn full refrigerator in our boys' panel truck with a kegerator in there, and I was like, "See, this is what I'm talking about, man. That's tailgate all-star right there." So that's what we're looking for. We want tailgate all-stars.
You forgot something else. There was no one else in the parking lot. He was completely by himself.
Yes, just him and his wife. I mean, doing the Lord's work is what he was doing.
For an 11 a.m. kick. 11 a.m. local.
11 a.m.
11
kick
a.m.
central,
local.
day after Thanksgiving. I mean, it was cold enough to kill you. If you go look at the footage of Jimmy and I taping outside of Camp Randall that day, your boy was a popsicle. Like, I thought I was going to be. I thought I may end up like Austin Powers in the first movie. Like, I was just going to be cryogenically frozen in Madison, Wisconsin, until the winter season was over.
Bloomington
Bloomington
was a balmy 29 degrees, and it felt like summer.
Dude, felt like I could have worn short sleeves. Like, I was so comfortable in Bloomington compared to how I felt in Madison. So anyway, that's what we're looking for. So each week I want to find a tailgate titan. So I am going to do. I'll put out a post this week, putting the call out there, but need that to happen. I want to find the best tailgates from all across this great nation. I want people to send us pictures. People send us videos, and I'm gonna figure out something where we can reward each tailgate of the week. And I'm hoping if we get to make our trip that we're trying to plan here at the end of November, we can hit 3 different tailgates during that weekend and like in-person hang out with these 3 awesome tailgates. So anyway, that's out there. Tailgate Titans. We got to figure out what we're going to call it. Tailgate of the week, Tailgate Titan, something fun.
Okay.
We got to figure that out. I tell you what, I really would just like to find our boy in Wisconsin and give it to him week 1, honorary winner for inspiring the whole shebang. So yeah, that's out there. What else have I been texting you about as it comes in my brain in the off season?
I mean,
we're going to pick our own. We're going to pick our own team, like the all Ambien team, the team that keeps coaches. Yeah, the team that keeps coaches up at night.
Yeah,
got to slip them an Ambien.
For the game planning.
Yes,
yes. But it's not just the all Ambien team. We were going to do a bunch of them.
Yeah, there was another one too. Well, I'll call back through, but a lot of things out there. So this is what
I don't know. It's probably like 1,000 text messages we got to go through to find those things.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I should just start writing it down in a journal. That would be easier to keep track of.
Or a note in our phones.
Or a note in the phone. That would actually be much more functional. I am a Luddite in many ways, so that would involve me using technology. Okay, so this is our plan. Jimmy and I are going to do a preview for all 4 conferences, Power 4 conferences. We're going to preview the G5, a big, broad one. And then we are also going to do one for our beloved FCS. And you and I have talked about this, but I will be at Johnson Haygood Stadium at the Citadel week 1 for Citadel versus North Dakota State. North Dakota State, number 1 team in the country preseason for the FCS, favored to win the
Who's surprised? Title. Who's surprised?
Not surprised at all. Like, absolute studs. So, yeah, that's going to be a blast. I'm fired up about that. Citadel's been incredible. And we're going to tape a show from the stadium Friday night, which is going to be awesome. So our week 1, I don't know if it'll be our week 1 preview. We'll probably do the week 1 preview before that. But we will tape we are so excited because tomorrow is the real first kickoff of the year. Like first Saturday, college football Saturday of the year. I know we get a little tickler this coming Saturday, week 0, but week 1 coming. Boy, is it late. So, anyway, man, I am beyond jacked up, capital J jacked up, that it's back, that you and I are back having regular appointment opportunities to talk to each other. Where we get blips in our schedule from chasing our kids and trying to keep up with our families, which is
no kidding.
Yes, it's a lot. So, yeah, man. I got to tell you one other thing. I don't know if I've told you this yet. Maybe I have told you. One of the things. So last year, I was insane, and I signed up for this 100-mile race and trained for it, and it absolutely annihilated me. And I didn't finish it, but it punished me. It was a growing experience. So this year, I am currently training with my lovely wife for a half Ironman that we are doing the end of October. So swim, bike, run. And let's just be very clear. Your boy is a land animal. Okay. So if I can get through this 1.2 mile swim, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell me nothing. I'm just going to be high on the hog, my friend.
Great. So you're not going to be able to put your head in the door. Awesome.
Yes. But it's a big if, okay? Because let's just say my behind is just fine on a bike or running. Swimming is a whole different equation. Michael Phelps, I am not. Okay.
Well, where's this at? Is this at home or is this somewhere else?
It's in Wilmington. I
Okay.
researched and picked the flattest one that I could find.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I want 0 elevation change. I want 0 bike climbing. This is a completion project, my friend.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have 4 children. I work full time. Completion project. That's all it is. I don't need any impediments to that. So yes. So I'll keep you apprised on how that's going.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, that's all I got for now. We will be back soon with conference previews. ACC up first, and I'm going to tell you, I am excited about the ACC.
Oh, it makes one of us.
I can't wait to regale you with all the different variables that are in place in this ACC race. It's going to be special. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun.
I think you're going to be shocked at my championship game pick.
Oh, I'm excited about this. Wait, ACC championship pick or like total?
ACC championship game pick.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, man, I got to tell you. We'll do the Big 12 after, or we'll do the Big 10 after we do the ACC. I have some things to say about Drew Aller.
Really? I have some things to say about James Franklin. So.
I know he's your favorite.
Yeah,
so,
he's my favorite.
It's funny, man. Not to let any cats out of the bag, but that Penn State roster I like a lot. And their schedule is, shall we say, not super toothy. However, I have large questions about Mr. Drew Aller. I'll leave it at that. We will expound upon that at a later date, but I'm just throwing that out there for you.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, we will be back. In the meantime, everybody enjoy their week and rejoice. College football is almost here.
Have a good one, guys.